My girlfriend has a strange new hobby, and I am getting close to sounding the relationship's alarms and ending things. We've been together for 7 years. For 3, she attended nursing school while I lifted the financial burden to keep us going. Then she did the same for me while I furthered my education. We both work in the same hospital, though our shifts rarely overlap. We are financially stable and in great place emotionally, until the last few weeks. Why am I telling you our background? For 2 reasons. First, I'm trying to convey that we are normal, responsible adults. We have been through everything together, and a relationship like this isn't thrown away because of a weird hobby that developed over the last few weeks, right? The second is to explain that the nature of our jobs is one that requires a deep desensitization to blood, gore, and things that the general public perceives as gross. This is important. Prior to 4 weeks ago, our life entered the monotonous but common synchronized schedule of an adult couple. We function like clockwork, aligning work, family, friends, meals, sleep, and exercise without a thought. There wasn't much change in our day-to-day events, but we liked it that way. 4 weeks ago, I came home from my shift at the hospital and expected to be greeted by the aroma of dinner on the stove, music playing, and a loving girlfriend. I didn't find any of that. I passed the threshold and found myself smelling and hearing nothing. I called for her, but got no response. I walked to our back door that overlooks our backyard and found her kneeling on the grass, facing away from me. "Babe, everything okay?" I asked, grass crunching under my shoes, an oddly satisfying feeling that I always enjoyed. No response. "Babe." I reached out and touched her shoulder gently. Her head was facing down, back arched, staring at something she held in her hands. She appeared to be lost in a trance, awoken only by my touch. She looked up at me, tears in her eyes that made me melt. However, my eyes went to what was in her hands instantly. Cradled in her 2 opened hand was a relatively large crow, stiff with death, eyes staring forward void of life. Across its chest, beginning below its head, reaching its belly, was an open gash that exposed the bird's intestines through a puddle of blood that pooled beyond my girlfriend's hands and onto our grass. "What?" I began, but she began sobbing. She explained that she had seen the injured bird through the kitchen window. It flapped around endlessly on the yard, and when she went to inspect, she saw a trail of blood and innards. She asked to keep the body in the bathtub or our guest bathroom, so she could inspect the bird's anatomy. That's normal physician curiosity, right? I didn't think so, but I didn't say anything. This was the first of 5 different dead animals that are currently laying in my bathtub. They all have the same opening down their belly, and they're all stiff with death. For days after the crow, I came home to find her on our driveway, holding a dead squirrel. The following week, she ran into our house, asking for help with a dead Yorkie puppy that she saw us get run over during her evening run. Days later, she walked into our house with a dead cat. And 4 nights ago, I came home to find her dragging the corpse of a large stray dog that I had seen sniffing around our trash cans. She looked deranged, unrecognizable even. Her face was blank, emotionless, as she dragged a 60-pound corpse through our sidewalk onto our driveway, leaving a trail of fresh blood behind her. Her hair was wild and messy, giving the image of a savage cave woman. I ran towards her screaming 100 different questions, but she simply said, "Put it in the bathtub with the others." I figured she is going through some emotional breakdown that's manifesting in a strange way. This isn't unheard of in hospitals, sure. Maybe I was being naive, but I chalked it up to something that can be fixed with a therapist. However, last night, I woke up in the middle of the night. The streetlight crept through our windows, just enough to illuminate the image that has been haunting me every second of my day. My girlfriend, the girl that I have built a life around, the future mother of my children, kneeled over me as I slept on my back. The light illuminated her soulless stare, only a few inches from my face. She ran her finger below my jaw all the way down to my belly. Her fingernail slid slowly, feeling like ice on my skin. I was too frozen to move in that moment. She knelt over me for a few minutes and returned to sleep, rolling onto her side of the bed harshly. When I brought it up in the morning, she laughed and dismissed it as if it were the most ridiculous story she had ever heard. "It was clearly a bad dream," she said. Maybe she's right. I'm not sure what to do. I'm afraid that if I wait another few nights, my life may be in danger, but even writing that out about my future wife makes me sick to my stomach.